Good evening, and I'm calling our city council meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Erin, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Gray.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
Councilmember Dittrich.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Here.
Councilmember Sherburne.
Here.
We're all here. First item is,
So Sam now.
Sam's here now too. Good. Are there any changes to the agenda for tonight that we should be aware of?
I have no changes.
Okay, anybody else have any? Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda. I move to approve the agenda. In a second,
Okay.
okay. Last time, for any comments? Okay, Linda?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
And Brian?
Yes.
Okay. Next is a public input period. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record before proceeding with your comments. Individual remarks are limited to 5 minutes, with overall public input period limited to 30 minutes. Under Iowa Open Meetings Law, the city council can take no formal action on comments given during the public input period, which do not relate to action items on the agenda. Is there anybody who'd like to speak to the council tonight?
Hi, my name is Melissa Lindsay and I live here in Manchester. I am the SANE nurse for the county, which is the Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and I'd like to light up the Marion Street Bridge again, just like I did last year. I have all the lights, I have all the supplies, and I have firemen that are willing to come out and help me string it along, so I don't have to do it by myself this year. And all I would need is permission and then able to plug into the outlet there. We're gonna try to get it on the official agenda next time, but I just wanted to bring it up, and if anybody had questions or whatever, so.
Okay.
Yeah, the request came in after the deadline for the agenda, so they'd like to do it for the first part of April. If the council doesn't have any concerns or anything, we'll let them get started on it and put it up, and then we'll just do the formal approval of the next evening.
I would like to see us do that. I think it's a good way to show.
Yes, I got a lot of compliments on it
Bet you
last
did.
year.
It really
Yeah.
looked nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds very good.
Okay,
Perfect.
so we will have this on the next agenda for formal approval. We'll go ahead and proceed.
Okay. Do I need to be at that meeting?
No, she-
Thank you.
No, that's okay.
All right. Thank you. Does anybody else have anything before the council tonight? Hearing none, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public input period, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Item 1 is I need approval of the minutes of the March 10th and the March 17th council meetings and committee of a whole meeting. Next, I need a motion to approve resolution 27, that's approving the bills. Next, I need a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the following reports and minutes, and that's from the February 13th library board meeting and the February 2025 wastewater IDNR report. Next, I need a motion to approve a liquor license. It's a new application for a 5-day special class C. This is for Lucky White Wine Slushies for an event at Real Deals at 935 East Main Street. And then I need a motion to adopt resolution 28, and that's to approve an amendment to resolution 67 of 2024. It's a salary resolution for all of our seasonal employees at the Aquatic Center and Park Maintenance.
Not quite all of them yet.
Well, not all of them, but their new ones are,
Some that come back a little bit earlier than the others.
all right, thank you for that clarification. With that, that's all on the consent agenda. I'll take a motion in a second, and then we can open up for discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any comments, questions? I know one of the bills that came up already, somebody mentioned to me was the one to RMC for $700.
Macocota River.
And it's for our sharing that we're doing for our portion for the music with RMC for their
They're celebrating
Entertainment.
75
years. So we're co-celebrating the last music on Macocota because that's the exact date of their anniversary. And they wrote the check to the band, so we just gave them money. Anything else? All right, Joe?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next, it is 5:05 and I'm opening a public hearing on the proposed contract documents and estimate costs for the airport runway rehabilitation project. And I'm gonna let you speak to this first, Tim.
So this is the first part of us doing our resurfacing out there. We have to have a public hearing on the project itself, plan specifications. Those are included, the bids are out, or plans are out, for the bids on that. We hope to get those back and then bring back to you. The project bids are accepted, April 18th at 11 a.m. and then we'll be back to the council for review of the bids. And then we go back to the FAA, for a grant agreement on that based on the bid prices. For council approval at that point, and then awarding the bids. So we will get the grant agreement before we award the bids.
Just to make sure that we are getting the funding that they've indicated, so we want to ensure we have that in place before we do anything with signing any contracts or awarding any contract. So this is just procedural.
I see the drainage trials are included.
They included in the bid estimate at this time, and the engineer's estimate is $987,000, I believe it is. And we're anticipating through the bill funding in our annual appropriations, we have a little over $1 million. So there's a little bit of cushion there, hopefully cover this. Again, it's a 95/5. 95% of this is covered by federal funding, 5% by local match. Yep.
Pardon?
Aaron's just reminding me of things, and so I would like to point out that Anthony Barjett is here.
Oh. okay.
Anthony is part of Kirk and Michael now, so
Mhm.
Anthony, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. Love to read this on. Good evening, my name is Anthony Barjett, I'm with Kirk and Michael, I started in January. Formerly, I was a county engineer
Yes, you
here in
were.
Delaware County and also Dubuque County. So glad to be here, I'm here as support for Eric's team, you know, with the airport team, so try to answer the questions the best I can here. Yeah.
Okay, okay, awesome. Well, it is a public input period, so if anybody has anything they want to ask, now's the time to do it. A whole lot from the public here today, so. So does the council have any questions that they have for anything?
No, the estimate on that 5% match at 49.2, actually less than what we were.
Budgeting, we have budgeted 85,000, so there is a little cushion if necessary, but that's what we anticipate, because that was back when it was 90/10.
Yeah, good deal.
Okay, hearing no other public input, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public input period at 5:08. And before us, we have resolution 29 to approve and confirm plan specifications in the form of contract and estimate of cost for the airport runway rehabilitation project.
I'd like to move for approval of resolution 29.
Right here, a second.
I'll second it.
This is just to move forward with.
That, this submitting out the bids and requests, yep, it's not formally approving the project this time.
Any other questions? Okay, Mary Ann,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Linda.
Yes.
Okay. Next, regular agenda item, we have a request to place a permanent sign for the Manchester Farmers Market. Laura Holtz is here from the chamber to talk to us about that.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I am here on behalf of the Manchester Farmers Market. We are here to ask permission to put up a permanent sign where the location of the farmers market traditionally is. And that is on city property. That is why I'm here to speak to you tonight. I'm working with Manchester Signs on this, and we do have, I have some photos if you would like to see. Do you mind if I pass them?
that's okay.
We can share it with you.
All right, so this would be visible from Highway 13. And it would be tall enough, it's gonna be 20 feet long. And I believe a good 10 feet tall. And it would be permanent, so that it could be, left up year round. Now, it's not decided yet if we are gonna go with a banner or if it will be an actual hardboard. The banner, can be taken down, so then it would last longer. So those are options, but again, financial is not anything that I'm here to talk about tonight. I'm just here for permission to be able to put up a sign on that city property that is located there.
It falls within the guidelines of what we have for signs. Is Tim, do you know?
I don't have the dimensions on this exactly yet, so I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah,
assuming you-
yeah, it's pretty much gonna be, 4 foot tall by 20 foot long on the top.
Okay, that's 80 square feet, I think. 4 foot by 20 foot, yeah, 80 square foot, 200 square foot is the maximum. If my memory serves me correctly,
Right.
so it would be fine there. Just 10 foot tall.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, and we're just in the developing, so we
Yes.
can make it taller, we can make it shorter, we can do,
okay.
we went with 10 feet.
But you're looking at that corner. that
We're
corner
looking
area?
right at where that apex of that corner is, and we're trying to do like, only 3 poles in the ground.
Mhm.
So that we're really not, investing a lot in structure as far as in the ground, so it'd be 3
Yeah.
poles in the ground.
Yeah, the biggest concern I would have in the event of a flood, that is a current area, so we'll wanna make sure whatever you put there. I personally don't see a problem with this. I think staff would like to look at this a little bit closer and see how we can do that. You have capacity to go a little taller, and I might recommend you go a little taller.
Yep.
Just because are we gonna have people walking underneath of it, and so vandalism and stuff like that,
So
so.
that's what we wanted to keep the pole banners that come down on, in between each pole. We wanted to keep that up high enough where we couldn't get vandals to vandalize it.
Yeah.
Um,
And so that'd be something we would love to sit down. If the council's agreeable that this is something you want to proceed with, staff will work with them to get something put together. We'll come back with a final proposal once we have everything ironed out.
I think it's a great idea to put one down there,
Thank
so.
If the council is okay with this, if we haven't voted yet. If you go with the banner side and not the permanent sign,
Mhm.
it could possibly be used as
You could, and
An
that's kind
event?
of where I was going with it.
event is going and you could put a banner up there
Mhm.
type of thing, just a dual purpose,
Yep. Yeah.
just an idea.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate the help I've been getting from Manchester Signs and Brian, because I knew what I wanted. I wanted to have a sign down there, so, whenever it is, if somebody's driving by, because I go down on either early Saturday mornings before they start or Friday evenings to get the signs up, just so people know that it's going on Saturday morning. But I think to have it down there all summer long, so when people drive by, they'll be like, oh, that's where the farmer's market is. So I had that vision, but I needed their help in seeing what would actually work. So, yes, so, yeah, you let me know how to proceed, and then I'll do that.
And then people will be able to see it when they come down the bridge then too a little bit. So, yeah,
Yes,
okay,
yes, that's the hope.
okay, perfect.
All right, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time.
thanks, Laura.
Could, I'm just throwing this out there, just could another sign be put where Donna Wald's old building was? I know he puts the Christmas tree there, but just.
Well, I think Bushland and Peck were thinking about doing something there.
We do have to be mindful that we do have deed restriction on that site because we did not do an environmental, so we can't dig
They
on
wanted,
that site.
they wanted shrubs, that's what they were gonna do, they were gonna put shrubs on the one side, yeah.
We just need to be careful what we put out there, if there's
Right.
any structures or anything, just because we're not supposed to dig on that site.
Right, I
That
would,
was,
I'm just thinking something a little smaller with maybe an arrow that points down that way, that people going down the hill or up the hill might see it. Not to really take
That's what,
it.
yeah, that's what we kind of thought in that corner. You can see it coming across the bridge,
Yeah.
and when you get in front of, it's gonna be like right in your face.
Oh, see.
And if we go a little higher, it'll help too.
With that visibility, yeah, because someone had a tent up or something like that, because that's the question, is that gonna block one of the stalls for that location, so.
Is that because it was FEMA?
yeah,
That was a hazard mitigation buyout property.
yeah, we acquired it with FEMA funds, and so there were restrictions put on it by FEMA when we acquired it.
I think it's a good idea, because a lot of people don't know it's even there, because it's tying back behind them. So I think it's a very good idea. Very good idea.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve pending, okey dokey from city staff and height and.
We'll bring back the final one, but just a motion to approve moving forward with
Okay,
proposal.
yes, I will do that.
All right, I got a motion, there's a second,
I'll second it.
any further discussion? Bill,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
And Brian.
No say.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna say. Okay, thank you. All right, next, we have, Item 6.2, a motion to approve the quote for a sewer camera and trailer in the amount of $112,234 from Armor Equipment. Did I pronounce that
I
correctly?
think so.
And I know we've been talking about this all during budgets.
Yeah, and we talked about this last fall too. We need to replace the camera. We'd like to get it sooner than later. We do have it in the budget for next fiscal year. We would pay for this out of next fiscal year. But due to the lead time to obtain it, we'd like to order placed now, so we have it locked into this price before we have any changes in any prices of the steel or anything like that. But this way we can get some work done. We're doing quite a bit of sewer jetting and root sawing right now. We're seeing quite a few backups here recently, so we'd like to be able to get in there and see what's going on. So staff is requesting the ability to move forward with placing the order and getting this going as fast as, or as soon as possible.
I move for approval of the purchase of the sewer cameras.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mary Ann?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Joe?
Yes.
All right. Next, I need a motion to adopt resolution 30. And that is to approve a change order number 4 for the 2024 East Main Street Improvement Project. And it reduces our total construction cost by $574.11. It's the result of final adjustments based on field measurements as determined by the final audit. Do you want to speak to that?
I actually turn it over to Sam.
Awesome.
Yep, so got through the audit and everything with the DOT. So this final change order balance, there was there's just some tonnage on Macadam and modified. That ended up being a little bit of a deduct after the audit with the DOT and reviewing everything. And then the pay estimate, which is the next item, we'll just talk about that while I'm up here as well. If that's all right.
Yep, right.
So that's just the final payment, just the retainage, last change order 4. And the city staff can make payment on this right away since the project was accepted. It's actually the way the DOT standards is set up, there's a certain time frame. That's not till April that the city would actually eventually be started to charge interest, so that payment can be made as soon as possible. But I guess is there any questions on the change order?
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Sam. Nobody had questions, correct? Pretty straightforward, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sam.
It's nice to go under too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, if there are no questions or anything, I'll look for a motion to adopt resolution 30.
I move to adopt resolution 30.
Okay. Is there a second?
That's right.
And nothing else, Linda?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Brian?
That's it.
And Bill?
Yes.
Okay. I was supposed to say Bill first, then Brian, sorry. Apologize. And then I need a motion to approve payment in the amount of $29,429.89 to Top Grade for their final retainage for the 2024 East Main Street.
I'll approve motion to approve payment.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay, Bill,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
And Brian.
Abstain.
Okay. Next, I need this motion to approve the purchase of a 2012 Ford F-150 extended cab pickup for the Parks and Rec Department. And that's, the city had budgeted 40,000 and we got 3 bids and I'm gonna let you speak to this, Tim.
We are selling the Ford.
Oh, to replace, not to buy, to replace.
We're
I
replacing a 2012 Ford.
stand corrected, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, there were 3 options that the
Yes.
Parks Department had got.
And we did have that in this year's fiscal year budget for replacement. We had budgeted $40,000.
Yeah, I think they brought it to us the other night and
We talked
said,
about it at the committee of the whole meeting.
yes.
You have 3 options. It's just whatever the council desires.
So do you want what's behind door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
I personally, this is me personally. I know a lot of people get upset when they see us go out of town, when we are a city entity, to purchase something in another town. Yes, I understand it is a couple $1,000s worth of savings, but I don't know, sometimes it's hard to tell them. It's a little different if we would go back to the old city bids we used to get when the state excuse me, the state bids.
Yeah.
They're not doing any.
Not as readily, no.
So my thought is, I would like to see us go with Bob Stevens Motors.
I personally agree with you, Bill. I think that, you know, for us to always talk about, you know, buying local and shopping local and that stuff, and then when we go elsewhere, I mean, I get it's a little bit more money, but it's local support and local businesses, so that's where I'm at.
I also think when we talked at our meeting of the whole, we felt that this was a better option in terms of what they would be getting, because they would have the double doors. We have the other kind of doors on our truck, and it's a pain, I can tell you that, because every time you need to get in the back door, if my husband needs to get in the back door behind me, I have to get out so that we can open that door, so that we can, you know, and it's a problem. I really think that having the double cab is the better way to do it for these guys, because I have watched them work and I know how often something needs to be pulled out of that back seat. I just think for that reason alone, for me, plus the fact that it's in town, I would also approve of going with the Bob Stevens.
One other thing I want to add to is the other Parks and Recs truck we have is a 2012 as well.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So being in the position we're in now, if we didn't do the truck at all, we set ourselves up to have to replace 2 trucks potentially in the same year. And that just gets to be a nightmare in my opinion, so.
And the 2012 is not in good shape at all.
It doesn't have very many miles, not 74,000 miles, not really that many miles now.
No,
This
the problem
day and
is where it's being used.
Stop and go.
Stop and go, and it's also carrying things a lot, and pulling and dragging, and that type of thing, so.
Well, my current feeling is, since we're having to do a K-9 unit unexpectedly, I'm having reservations about voting for this, voting yes for this. And would rather shift those funds to that vehicle. That's my thought. I know it'd be nice to snag this up now, but, my thoughts are to kind of shift things around. That's what I do business wise every day, shift things around. If I got a vehicle going down that I need and got one that I can limp along a while. So my thought is, to shift our funds, because we were gonna have to try to scramble to make funds for that vehicle.
We do have it in the budget for this year, but you're right,
Yeah.
it does make things tighter.
It makes things really tight, and we don't know where we're going. You know, in this country right now, so I would rather, my vote's gonna be no. I would rather vote to allocate those funds towards Ben's K-9 unit, so.
I just wanted to state here too, that we did have 2 quotes from local people. We had one for Rundy's and Bob Stevens. But we liked, when we were discussing the double cab over the super cab. This does not count trade-in, correct?
Yes, it does.
It does count the trade-in.
And it's $4,000 or $4,500 depending upon the dealership.
Okay. I guess I'm just looking for a motion or second.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the 2025 Chevy Silverado from Bob Stevens Motors for $39,610.20.
I would second.
Any further discussion? Okay, Joe,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Linda? No. Brian?
No.
Bill?
Yes.
Next, we have the dog park structure. Computer is locked up here. Is yours locked up too? It's not just me? Okay, I'm just gonna go to this. They have a shade structure and, this is money that they decided to go with a shade structure instead of a building to save costs.
Correct.
And there were 2 of them. I believe that they are doing, and it was like 16,000 or 18,000, was it? 16? If I remember right, yeah. Do you want to, thank you, mine's not moving.
Mine doesn't either.
Mine froze up as well. Internet bill not get paid?
It shows the Wi-Fi is active up there, in the wall there, so that's what I looked at.
I'm just restarting mine here. Anyway, do you want to speak to this more? Because I know the dog park committee will be reimbursing us. We're just a pass through.
And so what this is a single pole cantilever, 16 by 16 foot structure. We'll have one for the large dog park and one for the small dog park. They wanted this so it could sit out, it would not be any obstruction in the way. With the canvas awning type area, kind of like we have at Shelley Park, we have at the pool with the shade structures over there. We can buy replacement fabric easily. These are standard sizes, so they are not custom built at all. That's what they have in place. So the turnaround is pretty quickly.
And we have been invoicing the dog park committee for the expenses, so they are reimbursing us.
Is this the same company we got ones down at Shelley Park?
I think so.
What happened to the ones from Shelley Park that we ordered and they came and we didn't like them and we were gonna use them sometime?
They're a triangular shape. I think that
Yeah.
has another plan for them.
Okay, I was wondering if it was
Yeah.
something that we could offer
Yeah.
them because
Yeah.
it's better to use them than to have them sit around, okay?
My concern is they look like they're gonna hold up through storms and.
They should do the same thing that we have at the park. We already have at Shelley Park and the pool we got them. Typically, you'll get 8 to 10 years out of them because the UV rays will heat them up, and then after that, with again, with the fabric, we take them out in the winter, so they're getting
Right.
heat up in the winter.
So just to clarify, we're purchasing them, the dog park is reimbursing us.
Yeah.
So this is not taxpayer money.
It is not.
We are a
invoice-
pass through. We're a
Yeah.
pass
Yeah.
through.
I just, every
Yeah.
time the dog park stuff comes up, I'm gonna bring this up, even though we know the answer, just so everybody.
Yep, we invoice them and then they reimburse us from their funds.
I move to approve 6.6 of the upper shade structure.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Linda,
Yes.
Brian,
Yeah.
Bill,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Yes.
Okay, moving next. I need a motion to adopt resolution 31, and that's approving and entering into an engineering agreement with Burr Graham for the Anderson Street project for an estimated fee of $206,975.
Again, we are starting to look at this week. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. I figured you'd call on the
Jump
shooter.
in.
Yeah, we were calling, eh? We just talked.
Like I say, I think Brian went over this quite a bit, the committee as a whole, like I say Anderson Street, it's kind of been a discussion. Since the East Main, kind of the next phase, kind of do Anderson Street, so this will be a 2-phaser. This is just for the first phase, which you get from Anderson Street from the north side of East Main where we left off with the last project from the East Main project. And then proceed north to the south side of Union Street, so had some discussions with city staff, there's some issues with sanitary sewer at Union and Anderson. So we're looking to route that south, right now it currently turns west at Union, so we'll probably have some sort of temporary clean out or structure on the south side of Union. Then phase 2, the intent will be to basically the whole entire intersection of Union and Anderson Street and then go north from there to Prospect. So this first phase will be a little bit bigger chunk than phase 2. But it just kind of where we thought was kind of the best stopping point, and get things set up for phase 2. So all the existing storm sewer stay in place, replace water main, sanitary sewer main. Add subgranule on the project, same width as what East Main is what the current road is 34 feet. We'll look at doing an asphalt alternate, so curb and gutter with asphalt street, and then also, just full concrete like we currently have on East Main as well, just to see how costs, shake out. Be a little bit of easement work as well. So I don't know if anybody else has any questions on anything.
No, but you said too, it would be curb and gutter all changing. On that
Yeah,
project.
it'll be-
Curb and gutter. all
Yeah, so, curb and gutter, sidewalk, driveways that are needed, so sidewalk will be, I believe it's from Butler, North Howard, that block stretch. Sidewalk will be more likely out back of curb on the west side, just because right away kind of gets tight with the condos there. Then south of Howard, we'll have to obtain some easements currently from the property on the corner of Anderson and East Main and from Cork and Bottle. For the East Main project to get the trail on the east side and sidewalk on the west side, there's 2-foot easement right away, so that basically allows 4 foot of grass space, green space between sidewalk and curb, which isn't much, but it's something. So that 2 foot will more likely have to go all the way up at least to Butler Street. And then from there, just probably end up putting sidewalk out back and curb just because things are so narrow. And then get that trail to go all the way up to Baum Park on the east side, and then beyond that, 5 foot sidewalk everywhere else. There might be a localized area of 4 foot wide sidewalk if we get to, some of those driveways are kind of steep. Some driveways may need replaced to the garage door, we'll know more when we get preliminary survey work completed, but yeah, full reconstruction. You know,
That includes improving the base underneath the road, because there's not much for base under it. Kind of the reason it's falling apart the way it is.
I remember some older city staff from Lesser Arthur, Pastor David, told me years ago when that road was put in, they didn't put a base down underneath. It was just kind of get it poured, get it done, get it smooth and.
Any further questions for Sam? Okay. Hearing none, I entertain a motion and a second for that.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
I'll second that. In my opinion, that's the worst road in town.
I've got a couple of.
There's, it's close. Yeah, okay. If there's no other comments or questions, Bill,
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And Brian?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Sam.
thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Next one's him too.
It's him too, I guess, you might as well just stay where you're at. So I need we're gonna motion, to adopt resolution 32, and that's approving the engineering agreement with downtown stormwater review. So you must do that.
Yep. So, I believe Ryan talked about this one at a previous meeting, January, February timeframe. So we had discussions with city staff, looked at downtown and as a whole. And I believe the site map, the exhibit we have shows a portion of where this, basically where the storm sewer study would encompass. So downtown streets we looked at was from Butler, south, all the way to, East Delaware, South Franklin, North Franklin, and, Madison Street. So the storm sewer, as you can it's hard to tell, but there's red lines that go from Union Street all the way down, and currently all the storm water comes down from Union down Madison and then west down Butler. So we're looking to do a storm sewer study to capture all that water and reroute it a different way, make sure everything's kind of sized accordingly, because right now we know that there's flooding issues with that intersection. So what we're currently proposing is to basically bring everything down Madison, Delaware, and then out into the river on the south side of the bridge. Another alternate that we're gonna look at and maybe consider is if all that stormwater ends up going west down Butler. Now, the one caveat with if we take it west down Butler is right now the city's not planning to do anything with Butler Street. And the downtown projects that we've kind of prepared out of the different, I think there was 5 different phases. So then the only thing with that is if storm sewer, if that's, look at that as an option, but more likely the way we're looking currently is to bring it down Delaware and out the south side of the bridge. The only thing would just be depending on what size of pipe, we might need a 48 or 60-inch pipe coming out down by the river, and there'll be some sort of structure built underneath the trail and through that existing wall. So the storm sewer study is to kind of basically look at everything before we get into start designing anything with downtown. And this fee is basically broken up on all the cost estimates that we've shared with our engineering fees that we had estimated for the 5 different phases. This is basically broken down into all those, if you will. So it's not an addition to those, it's just basically be within those costs.
When you do this study, let's say you did go down the Butler side, would you be able to tell or kind of, I guess not really tell, project, I guess you'd say, what that would do when we do get a flood for the downtown, down by the Burger King Hardee's area? That takes water naturally now, as we've all seen, so I wonder, would that make it worse, shucking all of our storm water out north of the bridge?
So currently it all kind of goes that way. Obviously, the pipes just get full of water. So
Right.
I'm thinking just in terms of currently right now, I don't think it's gonna matter because I feel like when there's a flood that big, it's wherever this water gets shut, wherever it spits out at, if you will, won't make as big of a difference just because everything's flooding so massively that it's it's a small percentage of the overall flooding area.
You don't know off the top of your head what the cubic feet per second that pipe carries as opposed to what, we're getting, 2010, that was 24,000 cubic feet per second coming down the river, and this pipe capacity might be 1,200.
It's small, it wouldn't even be, I don't know off the top of my head, I don't think I want to
So
specify, it all depends.
It depends on
size.
size, again,
Right.
48, and of course, nice thing about, if they look at Butler Street because of the elevation difference, because it drops, it'll take the pipe water faster as opposed to being flatter, where we might put this someplace else, so these are things they need to look at.
Right. One of the things, we could consider is, okay, say we can get a 24-inch pipe up to Butler and bring everything south and then upside as we go, but that gets us to say a 60-inch on the south side of the bridge, and if that's not big enough, maybe we still also have an additional pipe going down Butler still, just to make sure that the 100, because the goal is to try to get a 100-year event that's causing the issue at that intersection with flooding, to try to basically handle the storm sewer, the 100-year event, and typically we look at the 10-year event, so it's, by the time we get down and take everything and come out to the south, it's a lot of length of storm sewer and a lot of pipe.
Usually when we flood down there though too, we're also flooding over where the, our sanitary areas too. They both do. So I mean, put on one side or the other. Yeah,
Biggest thing too is we don't have the dam ready.
exactly.
So we have never had that really fully tested as far as volume of water compared to what we had in 10, right?
That's correct, we've not had that kind of rainfall event. The challenges here is, we talked with the flood center about, because we still back up over that parking lot behind the Widener's building. And we had dropped that trail down, for about 32-foot section. And the initial study after we've done that, they said, well, you probably should have done that for 150 feet in order to keep that flowing, because the distance between the drops is where we saw that water level drop down, and that's where we're seeing that flow through there. When they put that elevated levee in there, they were trying to keep the water from the river going backwards into the parking lot area. Well, the reality is it's coming down River Street and it's backfilling from there and coming up through the storm sewer intakes. So that's what's now being captured because there's a dam preventing it from going into the river. And we've taken out that little dam and moved it further upstream. So we do have some other things to look at down there as we do this modeling.
Any other questions for Sam?
Smaller, just so you only have a proposal on the agreement, or on the agenda, excuse me. So if the council would choose to proceed, we'll prepare an agreement and then get that sent to city staff for that to sign. So say I think we had discussed this maybe a month or so ago, and just kind of have a proposal just for review, for discussion, but say if the council wishes to proceed,
Yeah.
we can get our agreement put and attached to this for city staff to sign this at a later date, but.
Okay. Any further questions for Sam? Thank you, Sharon. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
All right, so, the council is ready to proceed. I'll take a motion or I'll entertain a motion in second to adopt resolution 32.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 32 for the stormwater review proposal.
I'll second that.
Last opportunity for questions. Okay, Bill,
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Yes.
Okay. So, Sam, do you want to come back up and talk to us about anything else?
I think Brian probably mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll have another, inspection coming up from West Marion Street Bridge. That'll be happening sometime in April.
Yeah, it's required to be inspected before May, so Fairground will come in and do their inspection again on that bridge, submit that to the state.
So I think there's a current contract for that, so 20.1259 is the project number, so those services will be done under that
Okay.
agreement. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jason?
The only thing I have tonight would be just kind of, mention the committee, the whole top grade is out there, that grading work for the outlet of Commerce Court and Storm Sewer.
Okay.
That ditch is being graded, the detention pond is actively, I drove by today, they're getting into some good sand out there, so that work is ongoing right now. And imagine with top grade having the iron out there, it won't take them very long to get that wrapped up, so. Any spring rains here, we should be able to have a positive outlet from that street that we couldn't get done before frost hit the ground last fall, so.
Yeah.
I think that was all I had, just to bring an update on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Jim?
Nothing this evening.
Okay, and Tim?
As I mentioned earlier, we have started getting some more sewer backups. We were out jetting, running that jetter quite a bit right now. A lot of tree roots are getting in there, again, with the droughts that we had the last 2 years, I think tree roots are growing and getting into some of the lower storm sewers or sanitary sewers. We have done flushing, we flush, twice a year, do some jetting and we have to get some more knives, they call them, that go into the Ritz-Off machine, so they keep that taken care of, but that's kind of the next plan for next 8 weeks is, they're planning on doing a lot more sewer jetting and flushing and roadside.
Okay.
Look, one thing for the managed to. Meeting of the whole, you're leaving when, for when?
I have, the Iowa Municipal Managers Institute conference in Iowa City, that'll be on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then I will be on vacation the following,
All next week.
all next week.
Temptation.
Aaron will take any, compliments or complaints.
Okay, did you have anything you're in?
No.
Okay, Brian? Linda?
Jason talked about that 2x2 sign put by the old Simon's thing. Anybody thought more about that, where that,
Yeah, that would be a surface mount, sign that we place up there with, the snow route and potentially a speed sign. If that's something the council wants us to place up there, we can do that.
well, I think we bring a few people up, at least so that we'll know it, but.
We got Sam here, he helped decide that, anybody knows what we're talking about.
That storm sewer intake, it's right next to the sidewalk crossing.
Yeah.
That we talked about.
Sign,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're talking for, basically something, what can be put there?
to help maybe alleviate people not seeing.
Speed sign or.
Especially the snow on top of
You could put bollards there, but,
Put what there?
like a bollard, like a 3 foot time, it's like basically a concrete pillar, more or less.
Like
Okay.
in front of the gas
Front
station.
of fairway.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
gotcha.
make them like, you can get different varying sizes, but that's more of, I mean, it's kind of in your clear zone, if somebody hits it, it's not breakaway.
It makes it hard for snow removal.
Yes,
It does, we can place one sign there, but there are 2 elevated locations,
Yeah.
so that's the challenge.
Is that curb painted?
The curb's painted,
But with snow on it, you can't see it.
Right.
yeah,
I mean,
so,
it wouldn't, sure, it won't work very well, but I mean, very well, but talk to them, if they leave a pile of smelling the snow between the curb and the sidewalk, it's obviously not ideal, but if they leave a foot of snow there, nobody's gonna drive through it, but that's also.
We
Nobody's gonna
have to
look
have a foot of snow. We haven't had that for a long time.
I mean,
We'll see what you can come up with, that, what we too obtrusive and.
yeah, because, yeah, snow removal was the thing for the HOA property owners too, so, yeah,
Have we reached out to farmer shipping and,
farmers go up
or
to.
co-op, sorry, over there and trying to see what maybe they.
I
might have an
can
idea?
have Jason do that.
Just, I mean, it's gonna be in their way for snow removal and they're dealing with, I mean, it's their front yard, so to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that lines up with their scale too.
Kind of what their
and
opinion
that
is
was,
on
and that
it.
was, and the reason that we kinda got rid of the pole and the sign and everything that was there is because when they come off the scale,
Yep.
it was, scale, I think, comes out just to the west side of where that crosswalk is, but there, I think we eliminated, I believe, we got maybe another 8-10 feet there from what's currently there with the full curve, but even if that, say the full curve was extended east another 10-20 feet, still, you still might have the same scenario with winter time, because it's hard to know exactly, where the driveway and what are. So
So what do you do?
Yeah, So it's gonna be, an inconvenience, I feel, no matter what's done, whether it's snow removal or. You know, if you have a sign there, it's gonna be inconvenient snow removal, and maybe it gets hit by a semi coming on or off the scale.
Is it only for during those snow removal that it's an issue?
I think so.
Because it's only how many months out of the year?
Throw a parking barrier in there. You know,
Yeah.
a parking curb, barrier, you know, or throw one of them in painted.
They're just not gonna be a very good option here,
No,
any way we look at
at
it.
least then they can still plow snow beside it. And, you know, if somebody hits that, they're gonna know there shouldn't be. going.
Shouldn't be there.
Put up a snow fence. Okay, any other question?
No, it's not ever out there.
Okay, no, good. Mary Ann?
Nothing.
Joe?
The only thing I have is, I had some questions of the Marion Street and then South Fish Street. Intersection that got brought up with the yields and stops and stuff. Is there any timeline or any idea when we might see that on an agenda?
You guys direct me when you want it on there. Otherwise, the DOT is gonna do a study. We've asked them to do traffic counts at that intersection. No, wait until the traffic counts come back.
When is that gonna happen?
I don't, this summer sometime. I can't tell for sure.
It's the bigger government, so.
Yeah, I think
You're thinking about doing the stop sign coming.
before we stop,
Forward.
yeah.
I mean, I personally, if we can do it, I just do it because it should have been done a year ago. I mean, ever since we finished West Marion, in my opinion.
I mean, if the council wants us to put that on for the
But that's up to
agenda,
you
we can do
guys.
that.
It was just a question I'd gotten asked and I was like,
The rationale behind that years ago was because when the factories let up, it was trying to get the traffic.
right.
pushed through. But I do think the traffic pattern has changed a little bit down through there. And that's part of the reason why I was wanting to study, because some people cut across on Jasper up to 9th Street, but now that we have a four-way stop at 9th Street, maybe that's shifting again, because everyone's looking for the fastest, most direct route out of town,
Oh, yeah.
or downtown. So I'm fine with it either way.
Yeah, I was bringing it up, so.
Would you like it on the next agenda? I just need to realize.
We'll just put it on the next agenda for discussion.
Okay.
For discussion, yeah.
that's
When
all I
did you
have.
say they're doing the study again?
Sometime in summer,
This summer?
they'll put the, little things you run over.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Not pedestrians. That's what it could end up being. Okay, Bill.
Nothing.
Okay, you've got your invitation to boards and commissions in front of you. Hopefully you will be able to join us that night. And that's on Wednesday, April 16th, from 4:30 to 6, we'll be doing awards at 5:15. And it will be at the fire station. I don't have anything else for tonight either. So I will take a motion for Linda, a second for Mary Ann, we are adjourned. And we are adjourned. You guys have a great night.
Maybe on the.